So I'm someone that takes full advantage of high yield savings accounts because I do think it's a waste of time and money to leave your hard-earned money sitting in a bank account that earns 0.01% like a lot of these legacy banks like Bank of America and Chase do. So in this video I want to go over 5 different banks to give you the 5 best high yield savings accounts, and the one criteria I have for this is that it has to be absolutely free, so I don't have to pay to open up an account. There can't be a monthly fee to have this account. Otherwise all these are going to be fair game. Let's get into it. One quick caveat before we get started is that all these APYs are subject to change and they are variable. For example, my Sofi account that I had was kind of nearing 4.6% APY at one point, and now it's down to 3.8. But I will say that all of these bank accounts are known for being industry leaders when it comes to APY. So no matter when you watch this, whether it is in February of 2025 or in 2027, these banks should still be kind of the leader, whether it is 1% APY or 10% APY, especially compared to something like a Chase, a Bank of America, or anything like that. So now, without further ado, let's get into the first one, which has to be the Sofi account. So Sofi currently is averaging, as of right now, 3.8% APY, and if you're anything like me and you are a visual learner and like to kind of see something tangible, we're going to use an example of having $10,000 in your savings account. To calculate exactly how much you're going to be getting on a monthly basis, which is when you get this paid out for your Sofi account, you take the 3.8% APY, divide that by 12, move the decimal point over a couple, so divide by another 100, and then multiply that by 10,000. You get around $31 or $32, meaning that for every $10,000 that you have in your high yield savings account, you're earning almost $32 per $10,000 just for having your money in there. Compared to something like a Chase, which has a 0.01% APY, and then again you divide that by 12 and you start moving your money around, that's just cents on the dollar that you're getting for having $10,000, making this exponentially better overall. Again, it's just free money. If I can have $30 at the end of the month, that'll pay for a nice little entree, that'll pay for a couple Chipotle meals, or I can just continue to let that grow in the savings account. So now, a lot of these banks will have some sort of criteria to, again, warrant that APY. Again, they're not just going to give that money out for free, they want to get something from you. So in Sofi, it is completely free to open, but you do need to have a direct deposit set up in order to qualify for getting this 3.8% APY because it's part of their Sofi Plus membership. You get free access to becoming a Sofi Plus member if you do have a direct deposit set up of any amount. So it doesn't need to be a minimum amount. It could be $1 direct deposit. As long as you're getting a legit direct deposit, you'll become a Sofi Plus member and be good to go. There's a way around this, whereas if you don't have a direct deposit and you don't have a traditional way of getting paid, then you, as long as you're making at least $5,000 deposits in a rolling 30-day period, you will also get this same 3.8% APY. So it is a little bit more expensive, but you know that you have a workaround if you do not have a direct deposit. And this is $5,000 pretty much in any way, whether it's a Venmo, PayPal, an actual physical check, some sort of ACH, a wire transfer, any way that you can kind of show up that you're making $5,000 in a 30-day period, gives them a thumbs up, which will allow you to get that 3.8% APY. And I will leave all these banks linked down below because they have some sort of referral program. For instance, if you open up a bank account with Sofi right now and deposit a certain amount of money, you can get up to $300 just for opening an account. So I'll leave that link down below, as well as my video reviewing the entire Sofi account ecosystem, which I absolutely love. But now let's get into the second bank, which is going to be another bank that I personally use, which is going to be Capital One. Capital One is kind of in that middle ground in terms of being a brick and mortar bank where it still kind of has that legacy feel sometimes, but they're really kind of leaning into the digital and leaning into being a digital bank first, which is what Sofi and all these other non-brick and mortar banks are doing. But they do offer a competitive 3.7% APY in their Capital One 360 Performance Savings Account. I know it's a mouthful, but at the end of the day, it's just a savings account that you can open up absolutely for free and earn 3.7%. And then what's nice about the Capital One version is that there's no actual requirement needed to earn that 3.7%. You just open up a bank account, set it up, and as long as you put in money into this bank account within, I believe, 60 days of opening the account, then you'll start earning that 3.7%. Just be careful if you don't put any money in there in that 60 days that it will close down the account. This has happened to me before. They'll just close off the savings account of your checking and savings account sections of the Capital One portal. So 3.7%, again, let's do the math on this when it comes to those $10,000. So you take the 3.7, divide that by 12, and then move the decimal over a couple more times, and now you're making about $30 or $31. So you are making about $1 less in terms of on a monthly basis on those $10,000 compared to Sofi, but still 3.7% for an absolutely free account. I'll leave this one linked down below as well. So like I mentioned earlier, the more that you have to have in your bank account or the higher the requirement is, usually the better outcome that you're getting from the bank itself. So this next one is going to be by CIT, their Platinum Savings account, which does give you 4.3% APY, which is a decent amount higher than the other two that I mentioned, but there is a little bit of a caveat here. So the idea here is that you can open up a bank account. It is free, but it does require a minimum $100 deposit to open up the account. Now, you don't need to maintain that $100. You can move that money out whenever you want. It's fully liquid. It's your money to use and spend, and it's not theirs that you're paying, but you do need to at least put in $100 to start off the bank account. And then secondly, to earn those 4.3% APY, which again is still variable and it is paid out to you on a monthly basis, you do have to actually have a minimum balance of $5,000 in that savings account. The second you go to $4,999, you're going to go from 4.3% to 0.25%, which is still technically higher than the industry average, but still way too low and something that I would not consider. So if you have at least $5,000 sitting around and you want to open up a higher yield savings account and get as much value as you can, then going for this one could be a good idea to earn that 4.3%, because if we do our calculations, 4.3% divided by 12, and then divide by another 100, and then multiply by those 10,000, that gives you about $36 on a monthly basis. So you are earning an additional $5 to $4 comparative to what I was talking about before with SoFi and Capital One. But again, you do have to have a minimum balance of $5,000. And the moment you go under that, if you do need to go under those $5,000, then you feel the consequences of that and you will not be earning the 4.3%. But 4.3% right now is probably as high as you're going to get when it comes to the industry average. The fourth one I'm going to recommend is going to be by American Express, and they offer also a 3.7% high yield savings account, which is absolutely free to open up. And what I like about this is there's no minimum requirement, there's no direct deposit requirement, there's no ACH requirement, there's no fees to have this, and you also get to be part of the American Express ecosystem, which means you get their top quality customer service at the 3.7% APY. So it's going to be the same as a Capital One. You're going to be earning around $30 to $31 per every $10,000 you have saved in this bank account. But what's nice about this is that if for some reason, and if you are in the credit card game like we are, and you have an American Express Platinum card, you should get a little bit of a boost for the savings account going from 3.7 to 3.95. Now, it remains yet to be seen if you only want to get the additional 0.25, how much you would need to actually spend or have in that bank account in order to justify this almost $700 annual fee. Of course, it comes with a bunch of other perks, and we have videos on the channel for that. But just know that if you do want to get an additional 0.25% APY on your money. And the fifth one and last one that I'm going to personally recommend is going to be Apple's high yield savings account. And again, I am a big Apple fan. I've been using Apple products for years now at this point, and I actually do use their high yield savings account. But the one thing with this one is that there is a pretty big caveat for this 3.9% APY, and it's that you do have to have an Apple card in order to access this. So if you do not have an Apple card, then this one's going to be a wash for you, unfortunately. But if you do have an Apple card, then I do recommend setting this one up. It's absolutely free if you are an Apple card holder and member, and you do get 3.9% APY paid out to you on a monthly basis, which can then be reinvested into the savings account or be used as daily cashback to then use how you see fit, whether it is to spend on the moment or spend or pay off your Apple card. So again, there's a bunch of different synergies and different ways to really use your Apple Card cash inside of the Apple ecosystem, and we have plenty of videos talking about exactly how to get that done, so I'll leave that link down below as well if you guys want to check it out. But again, 3.9% in today's landscape is actually very competitive overall, so I'm excited to be able to show off that Apple is remaining competitive with their high yield savings account, and I love the UI, I love the interface. I had a whole conversation with Daniel Sparks about this situation on whether or not I recommend the Apple Card. For some people I do, for some others I don't, but just know that you do get the ability and the perk to have a high yield savings account that's fully integrated into your iPhone, into your Apple Wallet, into your daily cash, and everything that comes with that. But that will just about do for this video, everybody. Like I said, if I were to recommend one of them, I would just go with the SoFi one because that's just the one that I use. I love the SoFi ecosystem, their whole bank ecosystem. I use it for their checking, for their savings, for my investing, for my retirement. I use it for tracking all my spending. I use it for pretty much everything that they have. I even use their personal actual financial advisors, which I meet with them at least once every 2 weeks to kind of discuss my finances. So if you want an all-encompassing online bank experience, the SoFi one is going to be the way to go. And I'll leave my link to my video reviewing them somewhere in the cards right here so you guys are aware of them. But these are all great options. They're all relatively free. They all have their perks and their benefits, you know, with their certain caveats. Again, if you just want the most amount of APY, then you got to go with the CIT bank, but you have to hold at least $5,000 in there. If you want probably the best customer service, American Express could be the one to go. If you want the best online bank, SoFi is one to take into consideration. If you want the one with the best technology and UI, maybe the Apple Card high yield savings account is the way to go. It just depends on what you're actually looking for, but that is just going to be my 5 recommendations. You can't really go wrong with any of them once you have your money in there earning additional money for you. But if you take one thing away from this video is that do not leave your money in a Chase or Bank of America or Wells Fargo savings account, because that's literally just going to cost you money at the end of the day. But that'll do it, everybody. If you did make it to the end, leave a little dolphin in the comments down below so I know you made it to the end. And if you want to watch more videos like this one, definitely check out one of these videos right here. And until next time, I'm Fernando. Peace, everybody. Let me know what you end up doing with these bank accounts.